Ever wonder what really makes a company tick? Not just for a quarter or two, but for the long haul? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and frankly underappreciated secrets to a company's long-term success.
So let me just start by asking you a question. When you're digging into a company, trying to figure out if its profits are actually solid, what's that one thing that a lot of people just kind of miss? I'll give you a second to think about that.
Well, here's a hint. It's not about those short-term tricks like jacking up prices or getting lucky with the market cycle. No, the real secret is something much deeper. It's a fundamental improvement in the very things a company is selling. All right, here it is. The concept is called a favorable product mix shift. Yeah, I know, it sounds super jargony, like something out of a business textbook, right? But stick with me because this is one of the most powerful engines for creating real, lasting value. So let's break it down. So, what is a mix shift, really? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why this concept is so important if you want to understand the true health of a business. At its core, it's actually pretty simple. It's when the makeup of a company's sales literally changes for the better. The company starts selling more of its high-profit, innovative new products and less of its older, lower-profit stuff. The total sales number might not even change all that much, but the actual profit can go through the roof. And this slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? Those temporary boosts, they come and go. But a product mix shift is a structural change. It improves the very foundation of the business. It's not a one-and-done deal. It's a fundamental change that can build on itself year after year. That is what high-quality earnings look like. Okay, here's a super simple way to think about it. Picture a coffee shop. That plain old drip coffee doesn't make 'em much money. But that fancy high-end espresso drink, that's pure profit. Now, if that shop can convince more and more people to buy the high-margin espressos instead of the cheap drip coffee, boom, overall profit soars, even if total sales don't move much. That's a favorable mix shift right there. All right, enough with the theory. Let's see how this plays out in the real world with our first case study, AngioDynamics. This is a company that is actively and very deliberately reshaping its entire product lineup to make this happen. Okay, now this is what's so interesting. Take a look at this. Their MedTech division, that's their high-tech, high-profit stuff, it only grew from 43% to 45% of their total sales. I mean, that's just a 2% shift, right? Seems tiny. But just you wait and see what that little change does to the bottom line. And here's the payoff. That tiny little 2% shift, it helped them boost their adjusted gross margin by a huge 170 basis points. For those of you keeping score at home, that's a 1.7% jump. And since gross margin is basically the direct profit from what they sell, this is a crystal clear sign that they're selling more of the goods. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The company's own leadership team came right out and said it. This mix shift was a key driver of their better profits. This was not an accident. It was a strategy. Okay, moving on to our second case, Boston Scientific. Now, they're taking a slightly different approach. Instead of a huge reshuffle, they're putting the pedal to the metal on their most innovative premium products. And just look at these numbers. They are absolutely wild. Their electrophysiology division grew a mind-blowing 63% in 1 year. Their WATCHMAN device, up 35%. And remember, these aren't just any old products. These are the company's crown jewels, their high-margin powerhouses. So here's the kicker. All that explosive growth in their best products translated directly to better profitability for the whole company. Their operating margin went up by 80 basis points. This is the very definition of high-quality growth, right? It's not just selling more stuff, it's selling the right stuff. All right, for our third and final case, let's look at a behemoth, Medtronic. Now, for a company this massive, the mix shift isn't some dramatic overnight change. It's more like a giant ship slowly turning in the water, but it's just as powerful. Because even inside this giant company, you have these incredible pockets of innovation. Take their cardiac ablation business. It grew a staggering 71% in just 1 year. So as this and other high-tech areas grow way faster than the rest of the business, they slowly but surely lift up the entire company's average. And that's exactly how the management team talks about it. A big ship like Medtronic, it doesn't turn on a dime. But this mix shift is like a slow-moving but powerful lever, just gradually cranking up the company's growth and profitability over the long haul. So let's just quickly recap the 3 different ways we've seen this play out. You've got AngioDynamics, which is totally reshaping its portfolio. Then there's Boston Scientific, going all in on its premium products. And finally, Medtronic, making that slow and steady pivot. 3 different playbooks, all using the same powerful concept.
Okay, we've walked through 3 real-world examples. So what's the big idea here? What's the one thing you should really walk away with?
It's this, and it's super important. The quality of a company's revenue matters just as much, maybe even more, than the quantity. I mean, think about it. A company growing sales by 5% while its margins are expanding because of a mix shift, that's often a way healthier business than one growing sales by 10% with margins that are shrinking. So I'll leave you with this final question to chew on. The next time you're looking at a company, don't just ask, is it growing? Go deeper. Ask, how is it growing? Are you just looking at the top-line number, or are you looking for that hidden engine of durable growth, that favorable product mix shift? Because finding that, that's how you spot real long-term quality.